Hi, Kelly Pickard. Welcome to A.PUTNAM's Women in Golf.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
It's great to have you. It's been a long time coming. We've been like back and forth on just trying to find a time to get together. So, as
I
busy
know.
moms, I think we both get it though.
I know, but I was sharing earlier that, God works in mysterious ways, and this timing could not be better because, we chatted a few months ago when the Hideaway was just starting to take shape. I was employee number one. Now we're up to three employees,
We're crazy.
131 members. We've started shaping the golf course. We're rejuvenating the most exquisite land out at the Lake Oconee
So
area in Georgia,
cool.
and it's just so honored to be a part of it.
It's so neat. And I can't wait to just highlight your role in this career you found, but also being in the forefront of this startup of a private club, like again, Hideaway, like a Coney, like it's just, I think you've got so much to share that people will just be so interested in. Like it's such a unique position, and it's so funny to hear you say three employees.
Yes, yes,
Like
and we're full steam ahead. And
you are.
it's crazy that technology now can allow a company to flourish as fast as we are just by working from home, with a few really amazing associates.
Yeah.
To be able to take an adventure and start it all from home. Half the time, even during my interview process,
So
all of the board
crazy.
members were all in our cars,
Yeah.
safely.
Yes,
But
yes.
taking meetings on the road, I think you can attest to that. You're a
Hmm.
busy mom too, and you're able to build a company like right off your phone, which is crazy.
It's so neat. Well, I can't wait to just get the backstory of how you came into this position as director of membership and marketing here.
Yes.
And it's a neat one. So and I know I've only heard like probably part of it. So I'm gonna make you start all the way back to how golf even came into your life. Like when's the first time you encountered the sport?
I tell everybody, and this is maybe a little personal, but I was raised in Pennsylvania in a small town in the woods, which I think is why I'm drawn to the land at the Hideaway.
Hmm.
But if you would have told me, 20 years from now or 20 years ago that I would have been living in Georgia, working in golf, building a golf course, two kids, I mean, I would have been like, okay, you're a liar, right?
Yeah.
But no, I moved to Georgia. My ex-husband got a job here, so we relocated. I was in the fashion industry, so product development, global sourcing, that was kind of my wheelhouse. Never picked up a golf club in my life, never even thought to pick up a golf club. But when you move to Augusta, you learn about golf pretty quickly
Yes, you
because of the
do.
Masters. So, working in product development, I started working for a company that did mainly like team apparel, youth apparel in the team
Hmm.
sports space, promotional products. And we got acquired and we're growing super, super fast. And so we needed a way to, expand our footprint, host clients. And so some genius in the company said, let's get a golf membership. Let's host our members there. So we got a golf membership at Champions Retreat, my alma
Yeah.
mater. And so I started hosting clients there, hosting events there. And, the reason I tell you the whole story is because I want people to know that if you are authentic in yourself and you
Hmm.
really put yourself out there and you are a hard worker, somebody is going to notice you and give you an opportunity. And that's what happened to me. I tried to negotiate some rates with the former GM at Champions. I thought I was a big fish in a small pond, but looking
Hmm.
back, I was a little fish in a big ocean.
Yeah.
And I got the rates that I was
Oh my God, I love it.
negotiating, but I also he saw something in me, and
Yeah.
offered me the position of membership director at Champions Retreat. I had always, I don't know if you're like this, but I'd always shied away from sales or anything
Hmm.
that had to do with selling because I
Yeah.
thought it was all about the numbers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's Numbers are intimidating,
Definitely. And like the
right?
pushy side, yeah, and the pushy side of it. And you obviously have this personality that's like, I would never put you as like tag you as that salesperson.
Guess that's
I
why
don't
I bring it
know.
up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
always think of it in a bit negative way. Hmm.
Yeah, and I also thought, gosh, I hate math. I don't like, believe it or not, I hate math. And when I looked at it from people, I
Hmm.
love people.
Yeah,
And I always looked at my numbers because you have to be accountable for your
of
numbers.
course.
But for me, yeah, for me, it was, I loved Champions Retreat. and
Mm-hmm.
I vetted everyone, and to me it was about, wow, these people are so interesting, and
Yeah.
they are going to be such a great fit for the property. And so in the time there, I'm so proud to say, we grew membership about 3 times at
Jeez.
Champions Retreat. But what was so great about it was quality over quantity. It was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
right members.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I
that's how I
can't,
got into golf.
that's crazy. So you grew up in Pennsylvania. Where did you go to school?
I graduated from Westchester University outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I started on the road as a fashion merchandiser. But really, my career started, I worked at Urban Outfitters in the home office in Philadelphia. And I
Cool.
started in housewares and accessories production.
Got it.
And then that trickled into apparel.
Okay, interesting. So total retail background, really,
Yeah, yeah.
whether it was operations or merchandising and things like that. But okay, so you had a retail background. So now, I mean, I have to ask, once you got into Champions Retreat, did you start taking lessons? Like, did you start golfing?
So shout out to Mike Reimer. He's the golf pro there. And when I was just a member hosting clients, I went to him and I said, gosh, can you just give me a lesson?
Yeah.
And so I started a few lessons. But I was a ballerina most of my life,
Oh
and
my gosh, funny.
I am terrible. I can barely hit it off the grass, like if I'm being honest.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
I bailed on my lesson, and then when I became the membership director, the first thing
Mm-hmm.
he said to me was, I guess you're going to have to pick up lessons again. So
So funny.
a few of the staff and I on Mondays we would go out and we would try to hack some balls, but
Yeah.
I do prefer the golf cart lifestyle. I think I'm more of a patron,
That's
you
okay.
know?
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That is a role to be filled. Like that is
Yeah,
it's
and it's
necessary.
fun.
That's
Yeah.
too funny. Well, I think what's cool about that is that there's no prerequisite, right? So like working into this industry that you have to be a golf nut. Now, I know you've probably turned into one, like in a certain way and have an appreciation for the industry and sport in a different way than some others in the industry do. So, it's really
Do.
cool. And I think it's golf is just I mean as I didn't like much like you I didn't have a background in it at all but like it turns into like a passion for it and the people and the networking and like it's such a cool space to be
It's a
in.
whole vibe. It is. It is. And, it's really true. My story can attest that, you just keep following your path. People will keep noticing you. But
Hmm.
now, because I have an apparel background, I'm able to launch apparel brands with the Hideaway before we even have a golf pro
Right.
because I know I'm teaching my staff how to do approvals, how to do art mock-ups. So
Hmm.
it's like everything happens for a reason and leads you to where you're supposed to be.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
That's
Yeah,
right. I know you're gonna have oh yes a lot of people turning to you for help with all sorts of things now. But it
yeah.
is, but that's so neat. So I'm so curious, just as you've, kicked everything off with Hideaway, and I'd love to hear a little bit about just the process of coming on to a project so early. And I'm sure you're
Girl.
wearing, I mean, 3 employees, you're wearing a million hats. Like, what do you feel like your previous career, I mean, those like jobs you've had, like prepared you for this? Or are you kind of like, I'm sure you're learning something at every turn. And it's like baptism by fire if it's something you haven't done before.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you're as prepared as you're gonna be, right?
Hmm.
I came into this position, I got a random phone call, I followed up with somebody, and they said, my buddies and I decided we're gonna build our own golf club. And, me being me, I thought that was so interesting.
Hmm.
And I tend to live my life in the things that make you the most uncomfortable are usually
Hmm.
the most worthwhile.
Yeah.
And as a single mom, this decision did not come lightly for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a huge risk, but it's also a huge adventure. And I think you can attest, being a business owner, that, if you put your mind to something, you can accomplish anything. And
Hmm.
this is a project that I do not intend to fail, and neither do my investors. But what's really exciting and unique about the Hideaway is that this started as a vision of some friends that were a little frustrated in tea time access and amenities at the lake
Mm-hmm.
area. So they decided, let's do this together. Let's make this member equity. And member equity in our space is very rare right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm, vetting new members, and it's all member referral. So someone refers someone to me, I get on the phone with them. And it's not about, hey, you're investing in the fun of the membership. You are,
Yeah.
but you're also a shareholder in this new company. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's an adventure in itself, right? But to your point, was I prepared? I'm still not prepared. I think my experience has led me to feeling confident in my decision
Mm-hmm.
making. But and I have a fantastic board of directors who trusts me and motivates me and inspires me every single
So
day.
great.
So that having a boss that is
Yeah.
pushing you is so important, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'd be lying if I said I didn't go to bed at night. I'm sure you do too, saying like, did I make the right call?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Right.
got to remain fluid. You have to remain
Right.
fluid and confident in your decisions.
That's incredible. And when did you start over there?
Valentine's Day.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So really pretty new. I'm sure the first half of
Yeah.
this year is just flying by.
Yeah.
With membership, so you've got membership and marketing, obviously in your title, and just piecing this apart a little bit. So, like on the membership side, and I know we chatted about this, and you're in a really cool position where it's not necessarily quantity, but I'm sure there's some goals in mind of, where you want to be. And you, like you said, you've got numbers. Like, what's this number and target that, I mean, what kind of club does Hideaway look like in terms of the size of membership?
Yeah. So exclusivity, authenticity,
Hmm.
integrity, credibility is all extremely important to us. We're looking to build a really incredible place to be a member.
Hmm.
We will have no more than 400 members. That is like the
Yeah.
max amount that we plan on having. And, what is a blessing and a curse of member equity is, the more memberships we sell, the faster we can build the project, right?
Yeah.
Have identified is that the team has such a good vision and a strong vision, and the land is just spectacular. I shared
Yeah.
earlier,
Yes.
I'm
I know. I want
learning
to hear more
so
about this.
much. I'm learning so much of the land itself. And for example, we have these like majestic boulders. I can't really describe
Hmm.
them to you. And if you try to draw them in marketing, they look like giant potatoes, right? But they're just these majestic boulders that I'm learning are only found in Europe and in Georgia. And so as we're starting to shape the land, Bo Welling, who's our course designer,
Hmm.
is really incorporating and rejuvenating this landscape of these boulders and these creeks and these valleys.
Yeah.
The land has really identified itself as having such good energy, and we're so proud of it.
Hmm.
But so having that type of land and that type of exclusivity, we're on track to being a really really special place. Numbers wise, again, it's quality over quantity. So as we're starting to build up the property, obviously our demand is higher, our price point is matching
Sure.
it. But we are up to 131 members, just
That's
spectacular members. Yeah.
incredible.
And more so, I think we're the most excited to get together in person
Yeah.
soon. It almost feels like, you remember how you came out of COVID and it was like you finally got to hang out with people?
Right?
You know?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what this is starting to feel like. Like we're actually going to meet everyone in person
That's
really,
really
really
neat.
soon. Yeah.
That's so neat, especially as you kind of forge these relationships. Like I'm sure you are kind of first line of defense to some degree with, all these members and in the process and kicking that off. So you've got a great personality for it because obviously
Thank you.
you have to be, yes, enticing, but I'm sure at this point you've probably got, I mean, I'm sure the referrals, everything it is, people are just really wanting to be a part of it.
Yeah. I think
So,
in membership though can attest again, like I don't even think of it as sales. I think of it
Hmm.
as people, like all these people. And I actually got emotional the other day. I was talking to a member who told me a little bit about his family and his children getting into golf. And we were having this deep discussion about it. And I thought to myself, how cool is it going to be? I have goosebumps when we
Yeah.
are open and operational and I look out and I see this gentleman with his
Hmm.
9-year-old boy on the practice tee, right? Like it's going to
Yeah.
be just a moment. And I
Yeah.
had a moment with it. Like,
I'm sure.
I can't wait to see you out there, you know?
Yeah,
It's incredible.
it's so touching, and you're really going to see the entire process, which I think is probably really unique in terms of your position as director of membership, is that many others in that role don't necessarily have the startup aspect that you do. So you're really seeing it from like this huge funnel of people and interest and it all coming together with that culmination of opening and bringing
Yeah.
everybody together, which is so unique, but I'm sure challenging in itself. So what's your timeline right now? Like what's the date right now of that's out there? Probably moving, but what's the date for opening?
Leave it full steam ahead. We had probably more meetings than I would like to admit regarding grass and grass decision. It's a huge decision when you're building a
I'm sure.
premium golf course.
Yes.
We have decided on the
So
grass.
funny.
We're full steam ahead. And we will be fully golf operational November 2026. Following that, you're going to start to see the construction of our exquisite $28 million clubhouse. We're talking food and beverage, you know, locker facilities, spa, wellness, fitness center. Yeah, just exquisite, as well as some member-only
Yeah.
cottages. Part of the blessing of the Hideaway, yeah, part of the blessing of the Hideaway is we will have absolutely no residential homes on our 725
It's so
acres.
neat.
So very private, very exclusive, but we will have some luxury cottages for our members and their guests.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're going to start to see some of the other amenities. We have simulators, workspaces, racquetball sports. I mean, the team has thought of everything. Part
Sounds like
of the
it.
reason I jumped on this project is because in our industry, it's very rare to me that you see a premium private golf club
Mm-hmm.
coupled with high end country club amenities. You don't really
Yeah.
see both together. Here, you have all of that in one place. It's amazing.
That's so fun. That's gonna be, I mean, I can tell you're excited about it, which you've got yes, the
Yeah.
passion, and I am sure but it excites people. I mean, everybody's interest, obviously. And I think, do you think with this club, like, is it a second club for most of your members
Yeah, it actually
generally?
is.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I figured.
The core of our membership, you know, this is their second or third club, and
Mm-hmm.
this isn't the lake isn't their primary residence. They might have a vacation property or a lake house. I'm learning so much about lake life. It's like
Sure.
so amazing. It's like a different vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many of them have another membership somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
which makes it you have to get really creative in
Yeah.
how you engage with the members or the gifts that you give or
Right.
you know, in my experience, what makes or breaks a club is really that authentic hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, knowing their name, knowing their spouse's name, welcoming them back, knowing their guests when they return, right? Having a cocktail waiting for
Yes.
them. All of that is so important with a club like ours because it's going to separate you from some of their other clubs that they're already members of too.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like do you feel like it'll have kind of a resort feel to it?
In a
Mm-hmm.
way, you know, some of the country club amenities will have that resort feel, but
Yeah,
I think using the native, organic, exclusive environment of the
yeah,
woods and having that rustic vibe is going to
yeah,
set us apart.
yeah, exactly. And then it sounds like, I mean, even just the member you talked about, I mean, do you expect a decent amount of family activity?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do. But I mean, that's hard in itself to balance, right? Because when you have a high end exclusive club, you also have to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward in regards
Yeah.
to the overall guest experience. So, we're talking, for example, right now about, do we have a main restaurant and then we have a restaurant that's more family friendly down by the pool, So, all of that comes into play. Our club, what's great about member equity is the member experience comes first, not
Yep.
necessarily the profit, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
that is every conversation we have is about the members and the member experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That is neat. Like you said, that's very unique and but it helps I mean, yes, create this experience you guys are trying to unfold as well.
Yeah. You know what's really unique about the marketing aspect of the golf industry is, especially for a club like ours,
Hmm.
our approach is not necessarily loud and proud. It's
Yeah.
actually less is more.
Yep.
And we've built our membership culture just off of word of mouth
Hmm.
of really core quality members, right? So
Yeah.
in the golf industry, you obviously have to put marketing out there and
Sure.
establish your credibility. But, in this industry, I'm finding, less is more, experience matters, authenticity
Yeah.
matters.
And it's funny. I think it carries over into so many things right now. Not that it's a little bit of something that I think is trending a little bit is that kind of quiet luxury and going about, and not that there needs to be this, I don't know if it's necessarily the wonder of what's going on behind those walls or what's
100%.
in it, but in a little bit it is, and it's you're not boastful, you're not like you're just taking this approach that I think is intriguing and fun to watch. And obviously, I'm sure everybody wants to know the ins and outs of what Hideaway becomes and what it's all about. But that's when you're not loud and throwing it everywhere, that's what makes it so
Right.
enticing and interesting.
The phrase quiet luxury. Like, can I see? I
I'm
love
yes,
that.
please do. Please do. Well, and we talk a lot about it in kind of in the fashion apparel side of things is that there's so many of these brands that are really coming up, and of course, it starts with like kind of the elite and it not being about like this, I mean, from a fashion standpoint, like a logo everywhere, or it's
Yeah.
almost those sneaky like details that somebody's like, oh, that's a, a low jacket or like it's just interesting how it shifted a little bit,
Yeah.
even in fashion. Yeah.
We actually went with a logo with no text. And then we
Ooh,
have,
yeah.
yeah, and then we have a member specific logo. So if anyone
Mm-hmm.
has that on their apparel, like they're a founding member. But
Cool.
it was, I've always leaned into like, blast your logo everywhere. But we're almost like, no, we want someone to
Like
ask,
something
what's that
subtle and
L? Yeah.
oh yeah. Yeah, it makes it like really special. And I'm sure you'll find that and your members will appreciate that too. That's so neat.
Speaking of fashion, we have to
Hmm.
talk about Masters fashion. Because
Yes,
I
you got
rocked.
to like live it up over there.
Girl, rocked A.PUTNAM that whole week. Thank you so much. I felt so cool the whole week. It fits so well.
You're
The
so
colors
sweet.
were, I mean, the color, that palette that you have was like, I have it on today. It was like spot on for
It worked
Masters
out great.
Green. Worked out amazing. But the fashion in the golf industry with the women, I mean,
Hmm.
it is so effortlessly chic, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially
Every
from
year.
like a patron perspective, it's really fun to watch. I always say like the spectators, like it's just there's especially something like the Masters, like that's almost like the Kentucky Derby, right? Like and it's that's kind of what it's turning into, and I love kind of that etiquette around it. Like you go to a lot of tournaments now and there's no dress code, right? Let's be honest. You can wear yoga
Yeah.
clothes and probably get away with it.
Yeah.
But there is something so elegant about the Masters and what people show up in it. It's really fun to watch.
But I have to tell you, I've gone every year for probably 10 years, and
Hmm.
I'm showing my age, but probably 10 years. And every year it's been very golf specific, sporty. You had the straw hat, whatever. This year there was an elegance to it. There
Yeah.
was a effortless chic, there was a style to it.
Yes.
People felt styled, but like in their
Hmm.
own authentic way.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really cool to see all the variations. A lot of ball
Yes.
caps this year
Oh,
paired with,
interesting. Yep.
oh yeah, paired with,
Like
something
a
like what I'm
sundress or
wearing.
something, or yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but the fashion was just top notch this
it's
year.
so fun.
Really unique bags. Usually it was like sporty,
Yeah.
fanny packs or whatever. This year it was like high-end bags, bag
Hmm.
straps paired with
Well,
straw bags.
I think what's so cool about that, and this is always that perfect equation of figuring out what do you wear to an event like that, a tournament, right? Like there's this, I think now more and more people wanting to dress up a little bit, especially for the Masters. Like that's a whole thing in itself, but you have to have this practicality too, where it's like you're not
Right.
stopping, you're not like walking 18
No,
holes in heels. So like it's really kind of fun to see what people piece together. Like,
I mean, even when
this
we
is a
were
challenge.
collaborating, right? It was like,
Yeah.
hey, well, if it's sunny, I need a tank top. If it's cold, I need a rain jacket. You
Oh
have
my
to
gosh.
really
The
be
elements in
practical.
itself, right? Let alone
And
walking.
a lot of folks are walking all day and then they're going to a dinner at night. So
Yeah,
you have to be really versatile in that way too.
right.
A lot of really cute socks this year too.
Fun.
I'm gonna shout out Kristen Duke. She's here in Augusta. She started this line and she had the cutest little ruffle kind of higher
Real
socks.
feminine. Hmm.
Yes, a lot of really cute socks with sneakers.
Yeah.
The
It
fashion
is.
was on point.
I love it. I know, and it's so fun that build up of everybody kind of posting or sharing like their like what they're wearing or ideas. Like it is
Yes.
fun. It's like a Pinterest heaven for what to wear to a golf tournament.
And I'm sure we're almost up on time, but
Oh
also
yeah.
can we talk about how you can't take your camera
I
in?
know.
So it's also giving this nostalgia of
Yeah.
the little cameras or the throwaway cameras, and then you
Yes.
have to wait for your photos.
I know the anticipation. I know that's so cute. I remember you and I talking about that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to wait for
I
my
was like
photos to develop.
14 days.
Yeah, it'd be funny. It'd be a funny stat to say, like, locally, the increase in, or just like Amazon's numbers that go up for throwaway cameras.
Yeah, 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 for sure, for
It's probably
sure.
something crazy, like all attributed to that. But oh my gosh, it's so fun. So I have to ask, like, as you get going, and I think the kind of challenges ahead, like, you're obviously settling in and I think you're in a really cool spot because you're kind of developing this role in itself. But what are some of the challenges ahead? And obviously, half of it has to be that you're just such a small team right now, and as your role grows, I mean, between the two, between marketing and all that, like hiring people, I'm sure is not easy. Like, what's kind of like the next steps in your year of being in this
My
role? Like,
gosh.
what's I'm sure there's some tough things.
Yeah, I think it's staying on plan, making sure that, our vision stays true. I used to tell people when I dabbled in events for a while, it's like you put a mood board together, and as you start looking at your vendors and stuff, right, your mood starts to go like this, and it's important to have a vision that you stick to. And so
Yeah.
we've been very lucky that we have a strong vision that everybody's aligned to. And so I think it's important as we start getting into the depths of the project, right? That we remember who we are, why we're doing this, what is our project, or
Yeah.
what is our vision, and sticking to it. We're going to start to engage the members, and so something that I'm trying to work through is obviously we don't have a clubhouse, we have trees, right? So we
Right.
have to figure out a way to get everyone
Gosh.
together in a high end
Hmm.
way. And this is our first time getting together, so we want to do it right.
Yeah.
And we want the membership to really walk away like, wow, that is my new club. So
Yeah.
engaging together, staying on plan. And then honestly, I think hiring the right people is
Yeah.
going to be our next hurdle. I've
Hmm.
encouraged our team to start the process early. We are looking for a skilled GM, a skilled head pro, skilled executive chef. I mean, these positions don't fill easily.
No.
So that to me is our next challenge is going to be getting the right people in the right
Hmm.
spots to really get this off the ground to stay on plan.
Well, I would imagine you'll have some. I mean, opening the gates to say that you're hiring for those positions, I would assume you'll have some resumes like at your
I think
doorstep.
we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. It's a matter of,
Yeah.
finding the right
But the
person. I think
selection process is
staffing.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and even down to concierge and
Yeah.
waitresses. Like it's really difficult to find good staff
Hmm.
that really, embodies your vision and your
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah. It is. And I think that's like building any team too. Like the culture and unfortunately like it can be one person that like isn't aligned with that and how hard that is
Yeah.
to deal with. So it's like you don't want any of those bumps in the road if you can avoid them. So yes, it's a daunting thing, but so
Well, and
fun to
I
grow your
before
team.
we end, I am just
Yeah,
so grateful for folks like you who have jumped on board early with us and believe in us and
that's so
I
neat.
can't wait to grow roots together and see you in our
Yeah.
shop as well.
Oh my gosh, yes, twist my arm. I'll have to like come check things out. All right, Kelly, I'm
Yes.
coming down. Show me the ropes. I can't wait
Yes.
for a tour. No, it's so neat. And it's again, it's easy for us to I mean, even to say yes to any opportunity working with a club like this is just, it's exactly where we want to be and have, again, just to help with a unique assortment. And it's a tough thing when you look at merchandise in the shop and gifting and all those things that you want a special touch on. So you have to have partners and vendors and all that just understand it because it's like you have to have those partnerships that help you execute in the way that you
Yeah.
need to. And so that's a challenge. If there's not like an end-to-end understanding of that, yes, it makes your life very difficult. You're like, just find me some good people that can help me with all the things.
Yeah.
As
Well,
simple
like
as
we
that
said,
is.
like we said too, it's, golf fashion is changing.
A lot. Yep.
And a lot of our members, whether they're the
Hmm.
primary member or the spouse, especially in the ladies
Hmm.
section, are looking, they get the same, brand everywhere they go, all their different
Yeah.
clothes,
Yeah.
all their clubs. So they're looking for something different and
Yeah.
unique and custom and fashion forward. And,
Yeah.
it's exciting to have a brand like yours in our shop.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. It's such an honor, and I'm excited to help you with all those things. I have to ask, I'm so curious. Right now, of your 130, how many primary members are women?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'd assume it's on the low end, but
Yeah, I think
yep,
only about three.
yeah,
Yeah, a
yeah,
really great question. Yeah.
yeah. That's not too surprising. I would assume that that would be the case. I'd be shocked if it wasn't,
No,
you
and
know?
although I think women's golf is definitely on the rise, like I think
Hmm.
there's so much more participation that you would have found years ago. The interest that I get is mainly from the
Yeah,
male dominated spouse.
right,
Yeah.
right. No, that's neat. I didn't, when you have these membership calls, is it ever like you're sitting there with the husband and wife?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
sure a decent amount, right? Like, is there shopping around or trying to figure that out?
Yeah, and I actually take a lot of pride. This again might be TMI, but at my former club when I first started, it was a male gentleman in the position before me, and he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
But I think what happened was the spouses became a little bit behind the scenes because it was a
yeah,
private golf club, right?
yeah.
And so the golf pro there, I said, like, we got to get these ladies involved, And so he really
Oh
grew
my
a really
gosh,
great ladies following,
that's
and
great.
I am starting to bring that kind of ideology into the hideaway as well. When I
Neat.
offer to do a video chat, I say, please invite your wife. This is her decision too. We want to hear her feedback. Being a member equity club, we have membership committees, like different
Hmm.
committees for the
Yeah,
departments. So every time we have a meeting, I say, please encourage your wife to come, because
yeah,
I mean,
yes,
their opinions really matter in the shaping of the
yeah,
club experience.
yeah,
We want everybody to be happy.
yeah. And it is. It's such a well-rounded approach, and it's interesting because we always say like our A.PUTNAM woman is not necessarily the one that is on the 9 hole or the 18 holer. Like sometimes she's the woman that's just more intrigued by the cuisine and the social life and absolutely like the nine and dines and the like and it is, but it's always so fascinating, I think, to just dig a little deeper and figure out like what their interests are and how you serve them. Like that's I'm sure you're doing that day in and day out. Like that's just something naturally that you're doing. So that's so neat.
Also, it is a personal and financial decision to become a member of a club like ours. And I always say, when a primary does say to me, "Hey, do you mind if I chat this over with my wife?" I always say, "You 100% should be chatting this over with your wife," right? Like it's a big decision to be a member of the Hideaway or a club similar to ours.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when there's that family approach too, of figuring out that there's sounds like there will be something for everybody. So it's
Yeah.
fun to get everybody excited about it.
Yeah, and that lake life, we're going to have a private marina, and
Oh,
I'm
cool.
learning about it's actually faster to get over to the Hideaway by boat. It's like 5 minutes. By road is like 35 minutes.
Neat. Oh my gosh. So you might have some, I mean, that's a whole cool aspect too, just from access standpoint. Really
Yeah.
cool.
And
Oh my
Mark
gosh.
Kinsey, our chair, has introduced a boat valet. So we will have a boat
Love it.
valet. So if you and your spouse want
Oh
to have
my
a couple
gosh.
cocktails, we'll boat valet you home.
That's so great. Love it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna think of everything and it's gonna be so fun to just watch that evolve and
Yeah.
obviously you grow. Like you'll grow as the team does and I'm sure you'll be taking on more and more as and just having that like foot in the door so early. Like it is just such a cool experience. I talking to you probably 5 years from now, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm doing all this now.
No, we're gonna have to, in my anniversary, we'll have to bring
We
up this
should.
webinar. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, where are you 5 years later? And then I have to touch on, so your kids, how old are they?
Oh my gosh, I have an 11-year-old, almost 12-year-old daughter,
Yep,
and my little man is 9. He'll be 10 in the fall.
you're a little man, and he will always be your little
He will
man.
always be my little man. Actually, funny story, we went to a gala last Friday and
Hmm.
he wanted to get ready himself, put on
Oh,
his little
cute.
tuxedo, but he came in and he accidentally said, "Mommy, can you help me with this?" And I looked at him, I said, "You just called me mommy." And he goes, "No, it was an accident." I said, "No, you said
Oh
mommy."
my gosh, and you're gonna hold on to that forever and ever and ever.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's so sweet. And that's I mean, how do you like how are you juggling everything just from a personal standpoint like that? I mean, kids that age I know are just you've got so many things and you and I were not griping, but like this time of year, this end of school year, craziness is just drowning. So, are you mostly do you work remote? Are you mixed? Like how do you juggle all that?
Do. I work a hybrid model
Hmm.
primarily at home. And, it is a blessing and a curse, just
Yeah.
like, taking the risk. They're very excited. I have such a great board that lets me kind of do my own schedule and
Hmm.
make my own schedule. And so I'm able to pick them up from school now, which they
Nice.
love. But we did have a moment now that we're heading into summer break. It's like, I'm working from home, so they have
Hmm.
to figure out things to do and not bother mommy and. But
Gosh.
I will share, as any working mom, could attest to. I think it's really important. They're supporting me just as much as
Hmm.
I'm supporting them, especially being a single mom.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a one woman show. Luckily, I have a great co-parenting relationship, so that's wonderful. We balance everything. But when I am home, this job specifically, I have to do a lot after hours or early
Of
in the morning,
course.
and they have been so good about being respectful, staying quiet. And so when I do have a win, I
Yeah.
choose to celebrate the
That's
win
so
with
cool.
them so that
Right.
they know, you can do big things, and this is your win too because you supported me when I did that webinar for those prospects.
Yeah.
So,
That's really,
but
really smart.
yeah, but at the end of the day, as a mom who is juggling a lot, I know you can attest to this too.
Hmm.
You always feel like you're not doing enough or you're not being a good mom, or, you know what I mean?
Speaking of
Speaking of
which,
which, yeah,
I've got
yeah,
a sick kid home. I mean, if this isn't like perfect for the
perfect
topic,
timing. Yeah. And at the end of the day, we are. Hi.
say
That
hi.
is perfect timing. Hi,
This is
buddy.
the
I hope
sick
you
kid
feel
that's
better.
home. She says, I hope you feel better. He's my
Yeah,
10-year-old
and
old, so he's not far off from your guy.
yeah, and I mean, we juggle so much as
Yeah.
women. We never
Yeah.
turn it off. Yeah, we
Good.
never turn it off. I just actually learned I got the best advice. I was like, I'm
Oh,
feeling
tell
so
me.
stretched. And somebody actually said, like a professional said to me, you have to find time for yourself and a time for boundaries.
Yeah.
So, if someone texts you at 9 o'clock at night, it's okay to not respond until the morning,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
learning that.
It
Yeah.
is. It's a hard thing to do, especially like when you're as hardworking as you are. Like I always find that it's hard to turn off, and I have to make an extra effort to do that.
Yeah,
But
I always applaud the people that have the notifications to
yeah,
silent. Like I'm like,
silence.
oh yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
that's a statement.
I know. I know. In a way, it is smart. Like no expectations here. I don't know if I'm gonna like respond to you right now, but I know it's probably not a bad idea, bad bandwagon to jump on. But
I'm such a people pleaser. I don't know how to set it. Like I'm not answering
yeah.
you.
I know. You want to be like, I'll get back to you in the morning, but I think it's an art for sure to juggling it all, and I'm sure you feel like I do too. It's just you get pulled in so many different directions, and it's like I always think that, and I mean, my coworker Alexa, like this is why we work so well together, is that we just know that in moments sometimes I need to give more to my family than to the business, and also like very early on learning like we have to go at the pace that like makes this manageable for all of us and our families and all like it's so easy to just like run 100 miles per hour, especially when you innately like can do that, which
Yeah,
obviously you can too. Like you could probably work nonstop, but you're like, okay,
yeah.
that's not healthy. Not good for all of us. So it is, I think, to your point, like setting those boundaries and just organizing your life so that everything works is just a kind of an art and a skill.
It is an art. It sure is.
So
It sure
I feel
is.
you, and you're doing such a great job, and it's going to be fun to just watch you grow and the Hideaway grow, and you be such a big part of that. So
Thank you so
we're really
much.
honored to have you on
It means
here.
a lot to me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, okay, well, good. I know our relationship will continue, but thank you so much, Kelly, for being on here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It was fun.